So I'd like to start off this video by asking a very simple question. What is the difference between paying $60 for a brand new game and then playing it, PvP, PvE, whatever, gathering all the items and, creating different builds in the case of something like Division or Destiny? What's the difference between that and playing a free-to-play game and gradually choosing to spend more and more money, and maybe after 2 or 3 years you spend $60? What are the difference in those two equations? To me, the free-to-play, or in some cases the pay-to-win, seems like a more fair transaction. You play the game for free, decide if you like it, and you get to invest however much money yet you think is worth what you enjoy. Now, I'm not defending free-to-play games, at least all of them. Some of them are terrible. Now, if you look at something like Neverwinter Nights, or I think it's Black Desert, some of you might even remember this game APB Reloaded, or some other games like Warface or Blacklight Retribution. Those were two like first-person shooter type games. The problem is that free-to-play doesn't always mean it's a good system, right? So if you have a very poorly made purchasing or microtransaction system, then of course it comes off as sleazy and greedy and basically just feels like shit. And that's the problem with those games that I named. They feel greedy and sleazy, and they basically just make the player feel like if you don't pay, you can't enjoy it anymore. Now, I get the point that the developers try to make, where, well, they're making a free game, so they need to, get some income somehow. But plenty of other games manage to do this without being sleazy about it. And that brings us kind of to the topic of this video. Since December, I've played a few different games outside of The Division, which was my main focus. In December, I started playing Cyberpunk. Then in January, I went back and played all the DLC and Remnant from the Ashes and had a blast. But then, of course, I wasn't really excited for anything else that was coming out. So I was kind of looking at older games that I'd played before, or some, stuff that I'd kind of abandoned because of, Division or Destiny or whatever I was engaged in at the time. So in February, I ended up going into World of Tanks again, and I ended up having a blast. Now, when I first played World of Tanks, I, collected a bunch of tanks, had no problems with the game. It was great. Of course, going back into it, they did a bunch of updates. They changed a little bit of the stuff around, but at the core, the game was still great, and I still had fun grinding out new and different tanks. But of course, I did see, some people complaining about the free-to-play or pay-to-win model. And it kind of bothers me because I don't really see World of Tanks as being a pay-to-win. Yes, you can purchase premium tanks. Yes, you can, buff your tank a little bit faster or get new tanks a little bit faster if you, spend money. But they're extremely generous in pretty much all aspects. I mean, I log in and I get a bunch of premium days just for free, and I can just grind out a bunch of stuff easier. I get better rewards. Simple as that, and I didn't pay anything. Now, of course, I'm not opposed to actually spending money in World of Tanks. I'll drop a few dollars every now and then just to, support the development team, because I am having a lot of fun in the game, and it is, basically occupying a lot of my time. But the thing with World of Tanks is that premium tanks are just slightly different, right? Maybe this model has a little bit more armor and a little bit of a weaker weapon. Maybe this model has a lot stronger armor and maybe a slightly stronger weapon, but it's slower. There's differences there. There's subtle differences there that people don't really seem to appreciate as much. You're not paying to win. You're just usually paying for something slightly different. And of course, they do offer you, the chances to basically be rewarded with premium tanks. I've never bought a premium tank, but I happen to actually have a few of them because the game has given me some. And of course, after February, I kind of stopped playing World of Tanks for a little bit because I got into Crossout. Now, Crossout came out in 2017, and I love the game. I think it's amazing. I wish, there was more games like it, because I do like the customization. And one of the things that drives me to games is basically just the customization option. Crossout is full of customization. You can basically just create any vehicle you want within the realm of, the blocks and the preset items that are provided to you. And there is a wide array of different things that you can create. Now, of course, Crossout is also a free-to-play game, but it functions a lot like World of Tanks in the fact that it doesn't make it pay to win. Yes, you can get earlier access to certain things, but eventually down the line, everything is available to the player. Anyone who's actually interested in the game can craft any number of things, can purchase any number of things, can save up their money, and do whatever. It's not too difficult. And I think in total, I've played the game at launch. Originally, I played it for about a month, maybe 2. And then just recently, I've probably been playing it for about a month. And I already have a decent inventory, a decent selection of stuff, and I do have enough assets that I could actually pay to have, better equipment if I really wanted it. But I don't need it. And that goes into the whole aspect of how the game is actually structured. So in Crossout, when you equip items, you basically increase your power score of your vehicle. So if you did buy all of the top tier equipment because you wanted to have the best stuff and you wanted to pay for it all at the beginning, well, guess what? You're going to be fighting players that have the top items. You're going to be fighting players that have the top equipment. This is because the power score ensures that generally everyone is evenly matched in some sort of way. So you could create a vehicle with a very low power score and just, the highest end weapon. One of the highest end weapons, but a really, really bare basic vehicle. And of course, sure, if you're very cautious, you might get, a few extra kills than somebody might get. But at the same time, you can be killed extremely easily. You're extremely squishy. You don't have much in the way of defense. You probably don't have much in the way of movement. And this creates a balance in the game. You can buy whatever you want. You can pay for whatever you want. But at the end of the day, the game itself balances how all of these interactions occur. And so I know in this day and age, a lot of people are just blatantly refusing to play free-to-play games, or as they commonly call, just pay-to-win. But the notion that all games are pay to win just because they're free to play is inherently false. Just because you can use the option to buy something earlier than you would get it normally does not mean you have an instant advantage over everyone else. If in the case that you buy it and you get matched only with people who generally have that, or there's some sort of in-game balancing system that dictates that whatever you have has to be of a certain level to go into a certain battle with other players, then there is a balance there. And sure, of course, not everything's perfect, and sometimes you can cheese it a little bit by selecting a weapon that's really strong and really powerful and managing to just nickel and dime it down enough so that you have a power score that can get you into an easier battle for you. Yeah, sure, that does happen. And of course, I think that's actually part of the fun of the game, just trying to find out where you can exactly nickel and dime your build that gives it to that power cap that just makes you a force to be reckoned with. That's the whole point of PvP. And as in a game that's based on customization, the whole point is to try to find the proper selection of equipment that makes you extremely competitive. And that is fun, that is enjoyable. If you take time to build things, if you take time to plan things, if you take time to consider every aspect of your vehicle, this is fun and this is engaging. And of course, for this product to actually be successful to the developers, to the publisher, they do have to have some sort of revenue. And I think giving players the option that you can play it for free, try it out, you can stick with it for as long as you want, you don't have to invest anything, and you can just enjoy the game. Or you can continue to support us by, buying some of these premium products. I really don't see the problem with this, as long as it's honest. Right? You see games that are inherently dishonest, like I already talked about, and of course, like EA is extremely well known for. And in many pay-to-win games, you see, some terrible practices like, 20%, damage boosters that you have to buy every single match. You get a one-time use booster, and it basically just ensures a cash cow of stupidity where you're basically just selling people 20%, bonuses to their damage for a single battle that doesn't really provide any purpose anywhere else in the game. I mean, stuff like that is crap, especially when they put you in matches with people who aren't using them. That is shady, and I don't like those kind of things. And especially coming from, some of the bigger publishers who are selling that game for a premium price, right? So when you're selling the game and then including the pay-to-win mechanics, that's the ultimate in sleazy. But when you do it with honesty and procedures in place that limit the effects of these pay-to-win mechanics, that basically just make it a little bit easier for people who play it more casually, because they might not have time to mess with the market, they might not have time to mess with the crafting, or just mess with a lot of the missions and the raids and all that stuff. They might just not have all that time to go through it, so they choose to buy it. That's fine. I mean, if that's what they enjoy, I mean, besides, they're probably not going to have the most skill with whatever they buy anyway, because they don't play it that often. But that's the thing. No system, no matter what, is going to be perfect. People complain about everything. In the case of The Division or Destiny, people complain about the time it takes to farm something, or the time it takes to earn something, or the exclusivity of items in the raids or whatnot. Like items that require effort for somebody to get, that they don't just get handed to them after beating one mission, people complain about. So there's always going to be something that people complain about. The thing that we need to look at is what is fair and what is not. In my mind, the raids are completely fair because everyone has the equal opportunity to get them. In World of Tanks, in Crossout, and even in the game that I'm actually just started, messing around with, World of Warships, which is made by the people who made World of Tanks, all of the options are available to the average player. Of course, it may take a little bit longer to get them because of the pay-to-play mechanics, but at the end of the day, you will be able to get it. And without it, you're generally not handicapped by the game itself. But again, if you're not interested in these games, no worries. If you are, well, again, that's the benefit of the free-to-play model. You can test out these games as much as you want, you can play them as much as you want, and if you decide that you really just aren't into it, you don't have to pay anything. You never paid to play the game, and you never have to pay to buy items in the game. If you do get really into the game, you can choose to support the developers like I do. Just recently, I did buy the season pass for Crossout. Now, for a game that's probably given me more hours of playtime than the majority of $60 games that I've played within the last 10 years, with the exception of Destiny and The Division, I think it's an incredible value that I gave them $10 and I'm still enjoying the game. And of course, maybe in the future I'll throw them some more money. That's all part of the fun of the game. I'm not having to worry about getting my money's worth for the game. If I've decided that this game is fun, that I've enjoyed it, I think the developers have made a great product, then I feel happy about giving them more money and then getting items in return. So that's kind of how I think about it. I'm not paying them for items. I'm paying them for my past enjoyment and then getting even more enjoyment from the company. So I guess it's all in how you look at it. I guess it's all in your mentality. But either way, if you guys aren't doing anything, you guys are looking for something to play, you guys are looking for some sort of PvP aspect that you might enjoy, World of Tanks, Crossout, World of Warships, I recommend you give them a try. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.